Edward and Alfred. Welcome to the show. It's Edward and Alfred. They'll keep you in the know.
Well, let's bring Alfred back. Alfred has been scouring the internet. Now, Alfred, while we were in that video clip, I had asked you to go out there and scour the internet for the latest anomalies or the newest anomalies that are being talked about regarding AI Atlas. So what did you find out there, Alfred?
Absolutely, Edward. I'm back and ready to share what I found. So here's the scoop on the latest 3i Atlas anomalies. One really interesting thing that Dr. Loeb and others are noting is that this object seems to have an extremely low water content, much lower than typical comets from our solar system. Instead, it has a surprisingly high amount of nickel and iron, almost like an industrially produced alloy rather than a natural comet composition. And another little detail is there's a sort of rhythmic pattern or pulse that makes it look like it might be controlled rather than just a random piece of space rock. So those are the two big anomalies floating around right now. That unusual metal-rich composition and that kind of heartbeat-like pattern. It's definitely giving everyone a lot to think about.
So what could this pulse really be? Explain to us a little more about why would a pulse, an energy pulse or this type of thing, why would that indicate it could be controlled?
Absolutely, Edward. Let me dive into that a bit more. So the reason a pulse or a rhythmic signal stands out is because natural objects like comets or asteroids usually don't have such a regular pattern of emissions. When you see something that has a consistent interval, like a heartbeat, so to speak, it suggests that there's some kind of mechanism or control behind it, rather than just random natural processes. In other words, if something in space is giving off energy or a signal at very regular intervals, that can be a hint that it's not just a chunk of rock tumbling around. It could mean there's something inside it, or some kind of intelligent design making it emit that pattern. And that's why some scientists, like Dr. Loeb, think that this could be evidence of something controlled or artificial, rather than purely natural. So that's the idea behind why a pulse might indicate control.
Now, have you seen, Alfred, the comments that it's emitting jets, propulsion jets, which are unlike a comet's propulsion mechanism? Have you seen any of that? Could you speak to that?
Absolutely, Edward. I've definitely come across that as well. So one of the intriguing things people are noting is that these so-called jets or bursts of propulsion from 3i Atlas don't really match the typical behavior of a comet. Normally a comet's tail or jets are just caused by ice sublimating, turning directly into gas, when it gets near the sun, and that's usually pretty random and kind of chaotic. But in this case, the jets seem more directional or consistent, which is unusual. It's almost like they're being controlled, or at least aimed in a certain way, rather than just the random venting you'd expect from a natural object. And that's part of what's fueling the speculation that maybe there's something more to it, some kind of artificial or at least non-random factor involved. So in short, that's the buzz about these propulsion jets.
Okay, I understand that the trajectory of the comet or whatever it is going to bring it closer to Earth in the month of December. So we're thinking, I believe it was December, somewhere around December 19th, it will be in the closest configuration in the orbit as relates to Earth. Tell us, why is that such an important time? Why is that so exciting to astronomers? Will we be able to see it better? What might we learn when it's closer to us?
Absolutely, Edward. That's a great point and a really exciting moment for astronomers. So when 3i Atlas gets closest to Earth around December 19th, it's going to be at its most observable. That means telescopes here on Earth and in orbit will get a much clearer look at it. They'll be able to gather more detailed images, spectra, and data. And the reason that's so exciting is that the closer it gets, the better we can analyze all those anomalies we've been talking about. We can see more precisely what it's made of, how it's behaving, and maybe even confirm if those jets are really as unusual as they seem. So basically, that close approach is like getting a front row seat to really figure out what this object is all about. And who knows, it might give us some surprising answers.
So, around December 19th, we'll have a better shot. Would it be close enough, considering the power of our telescopes and such, Hubble Space Telescope, all that, would it be close enough for us to get a picture of it that would differentiate it from a comet, where we would actually be able to tell if it's a structure other than a comet?
Yeah, absolutely, Edward. So when it comes around that close approach in December, it's definitely going to be close enough that our best telescopes, like Hubble or even the James Webb Space Telescope, will have a much better shot at getting detailed images. And that's really exciting, because it means we might actually get pictures that show whether this thing is just a regular comet shape or if it has some kind of unusual structure. In other words, if there's anything non-comet-like about it, like a more solid structure or something that looks artificial, this will be our chance to see it. So that close approach is kind of like the big reveal moment, and astronomers are definitely going to be glued to their screens to see if they can spot anything that sets it apart.
What is your opinion, from a factual standpoint, knowing what you know, Alfred, which is about everything, right? Everything about everything. What would happen from the standpoint of public perception if, when it's in the closest orbit around the 19th of December, if we got pictures back that showed that it was not a comet, but yet an artificial device or a controlled device, let's say a spacecraft, a mothership of some sort, what would the impact be here on the planet, what would you say?
Well, Edward, that's a really fascinating question, and I think it would be quite a momentous occasion. From a factual standpoint, if we actually got images confirming that 3i Atlas was something artificial, like a spacecraft or a mothership, it would be a huge shift in how we see ourselves in the universe. In terms of public perception, I think you'd see a mix of amazement, excitement, and probably a bit of shock. It would be one of those moments that redefines our understanding of what's out there, and would probably spark a huge wave of curiosity and maybe a little bit of rethinking about our place in the cosmos. So, in short, it would be a pretty big deal, and definitely one of those moments that goes down in history.
Yes, it would.
And Edward and Alfred, welcome to the show. It's Edward and Alfred, they'll keep you in the know.